Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of our Terraform Made Simple series. In the previous part, we learned what Terraform is and why we use it. Now, we are finally getting hands-on. We will write our first Terraform configuration together and see how it all works step by step. Alright, now let's go to Visual Studio Code. I already have a folder created for this demo, and inside it there's a file named main.tf. Let's explore this file. So here's our Terraform configuration file main.tf. Let's go through it line by line and understand what's happening. At the top we have the Terraform block. This is where we define which providers Terraform should use. In our case, we are using a built-in provider called random, which comes from HashiCorp. A provider tells Terraform which platform it's going to talk to, like AWS, Azure or GCP. But for this demo, we are using the built-in random provider, which lets us test everything locally without connecting to any cloud account. Next, we have a resource block. A resource in Terraform represents something that Terraform will create or manage. Here, we are creating a random pet resource named example. This simply generates a random human-friendly name like curious lion and so on, and the parameter length equal to 2 means it will create a name with 2 words. This example looks simple, but it actually walks us through the full Terraform workflow. Define, plan and apply, just like you would do in a real cloud setup. Alright, let's move to the terminal and initialize our Terraform project. For that, we need to type the command terraform init. Let's see what happens. Terraform will download the provider plugin we defined. In this case, the HashiCorp random provider, and set up everything it needs to get started. Here we can see the message, Terraform has been successfully initialized. That means Terraform is ready to use in this folder. After initialization, Terraform also creates a .terraform folder and a .terraform.lock.hcl file. We will talk about those in a bit. For now, let's continue to the next command. Let me clear the screen. Next, let's check what Terraform is going to create. For that, we need to type the command terraform plan. Let's try that. Terraform now reads our configuration file and shows what changes it's planning to make. This is like a dry run. It won't create anything yet. Here you will see something like plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. That means Terraform plans to create one new resource. Now let's actually apply these changes. For that, we need to type the command terraform apply. Terraform will show the same plan again for confirmation and ask if we want to proceed. So just type yes. You will see a message like apply complete, resources 1 added. That means our first Terraform resource has been created. Once the apply is complete, Terraform also creates a new file called terraform.tfstate. This file is super important. It's basically Terraform's memory of what it has built. If we open it, we can see all the details of our resource. The type, name and ID. These are stored in JSON format. Terraform reads this file every time we run a command like plan or apply. So it always knows what already exists and what needs to be changed. If you notice here, the output says something like random pet example. Creation complete after 0 seconds. And the ID. Legible Safly. Each time you apply again, Terraform will generate a new name unless you destroy and rerun the configuration. Now that our first Terraform resource is created, let's see what happened behind the scenes. If you look inside our project folder, you will notice a few new things. Terraform automatically created a hidden folder called .terraform and a file called terraform.lock.hcl. Let's talk about what these are. The Terraform folder is where Terraform keeps the provider plugin it downloaded. In our case, that's the random provider. So the next time we run Terraform, it doesn't have to download it again. It will just use the one stored here. The terraform.lock.hcl file records which version of that provider was used. In our case, it's 3.7.2. That way, if you or someone else run this same project later, Terraform sticks to the same version. It won't suddenly pull a newer one. This keeps your setup consistent and avoids version mismatches. Now, let's try something interesting. I'll delete the .terraform folder and then run terraform init again. Let's see what happens. Let me clear the screen and remove .terraform. Let's try terraform init again. Terraform will simply re-download the provider and recreate that folder. Everything works fine. If you observe, reusing previous version of HashiCorp random from the dependency log file. And then it installed the random provider. So if you ever delete the .terraform folder or move your project to a new machine, just run terraform init again. Terraform will prepare everything for you. A common question people ask is, do we need to run terraform init every time? The answer is no. You only need to run it when you start a new project or if you make changes to your providers or backend settings. Otherwise, Terraform remembers everything from your last initialization. And that's it. We have just gone through the complete Terraform workflow for the first time. We wrote our first configuration, initialized Terraform, planned our changes and applied them successfully. Along the way, we also understood what Terraform creates behind the scenes, like the state file and provider log file. In the next part, we will take things one step further and start creating actual cloud resources. So you will see Terraform in action on a real platform. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. And just a quick note, captions are auto-generated, but they should be mostly accurate. See you in the next one.